Well, welcome to the show, Taylor. How you doing, man?
Doing good, doing good. Just, got a lot of treatment done this morning, lots of film, so getting ready for the Giants this Sunday.
Yeah, the Giants. You play them twice in a row. You get the bye week in the middle. How weird is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty weird. It's not as weird as last year, man. I think we went Eagles. Was it Eagles first? We went Eagles, Dallas, Giants to end the year. 5 division games to end the year.
Golly.
No secrets there.
No secrets. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird thinking about game planning for a team. I want like Taylor's not going to comment because he actually has the game plan for the team, Kyle. But like, do you withhold some stuff? Do you fuck with them a little bit on the first meeting, and then 2 weeks later, you flip the script? Like, it's interesting. It's another layer of game planning. Hey Taylor, I want to start with this. Like, we like this thing called layup line here, where we pick a song to start the show. And I know you're a Georgia boy, and we just happened to be listening to some Allman Brothers when you popped into the Zoom here. We'll give you any Allman Brothers song, not to put a 29-year-old on the spot here, but I'm pretty sure you probably know Little Allman Brothers. Give me one song that we can make our layup line song today.
Dude, you're going to be disappointed. I have no idea who the Allman Brothers are.
God damn it! This is crazy!
I was gonna guess Jessica, which was off Guitar Hero, which would be more age-centric to us.
We were
debating. We had a
everybody in the
legit
studio
debate.
had and I was like, he'll probably pick something chalky. He's younger. He's from Georgia. Yeah, but maybe he's like, you don't know Ramblin' Man?
I'm sure if I heard the
Midnight
song,
Rider.
Midnight Rider?
There's a lot of songs you probably don't realize are the Allman Brothers.
Let's hear you guys go for it.
No, we're not going to sing. No, we're not going to sing.
Okay.
No, but what we will do is I'm going to get him an Allman Brothers playlist by way of my good friend Nate Gary.
Great.
And he's going to deliver this to Taylor Heinicke. This is, I mean, it's incredible he's been able to accomplish all he's accomplished in life.
Just goes to show how great a state Georgia is. There's so much to appreciate there that you skip over the Allman Brothers.
The Allman Brothers, yeah. And real quick, before we get into some stuff that I think you and I have in common, St. Louis, little time in St. Louis, little time in New England. You was it Quavo? Was that went to your rival high school and you broke some of his records?
It wasn't my rival high school, but we were in the same county and we played each other in like scrimmage games a lot. And yeah, man, he was a baller in high school, but yeah, it broke many of his records. But
So he's legit. He's legit.
Yeah, he was a really good player in high school. But again, he went to like one of those high schools in that county where it's like that was like the kind of the laughing stock high school, but he was a really good player on that team. So if he had more weapons, I'm sure he would have got offers from a lot of places.
He's like Matt Stafford in Detroit.
Yeah, Quavo was basically Matt Stafford in Detroit.
Yeah.
He got his bread though.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, that's good. All right, so you spent time in the XFL in St. Louis. Am I right here? You were in St. Louis, right?
Yep.
And how long were you in St. Louis with the Battlehawks? Because that whole thing got shut down because of COVID, right?
Yep. So let's see here. We had like a little training camp or like a mini camp up there for about maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And then our training camp was in Houston for about 3 weeks. And then I think we got through 5 or 6 games in the XFL.
Yeah.
Before we got booted, but yeah. So I would say I was probably in St. Louis for about a total of 2 or 3 months.
What was the reality there, like the XFL life being totally different? I think people don't understand the delta between the lifestyle in the NFL, which for every guy isn't, it's not like a lap of luxury lifestyle in the NFL. But the XFL, it's like, hey, you guys are really getting it out of the mud, man. What? Give me some examples of how XFL life is different.
I always say the XFL is the JUCO of the NFL, and
Love that.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, we were all in the hotel together, floors 2 and 3, and if you go to floors 2 and 3 of that hotel, it's reeked of weed. 95% of the people on that team was high during meetings,
Luckily.
and practice and stuff like that. So, but I mean, again, it was a lot of fun. You're only at the facility for 4 hours. We were actually at the old Rams facility.
Earth City.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I did 8 years in Earth City, man.
Beautiful.
The little we were just talking to your guy Ryan Fitzpatrick last week on the show, and Fitzy got engaged at that Exxon right across the street. You know how there's the
Did he really?
Yeah, dude. How crazy is that? He was in the McDonald's. So the
Yeah,
story the story was his he had bought the ring and his wife and him were sharing a credit card and they were out to eat at McDonald's naturally, and she was like she went to go look at her statement for something and he was going to propose later, but when he realized she was going to see the ring, he just hit a knee right there next to Ronald McDonald.
Next to Ronnie McDonald.
that's such a Fitz move.
Total Fitz move, man. But yeah, I remember that I've spent a lot of time there. It's a fun town. Okay, what hotel were you guys stinking up? Well, not you, because I'm sure you were in the 5%, not the 95%. You got to be a leader and shit. But tell me about which hotel did they have you guys staying at in St. Louis?
It was like a mile away. It was like right up the road. I want to say it was might have been like the Hilton Garden Inn or something like that. I mean, we all had roommates, man. I was sleeping 5 feet away from Brandon Riley, receiver that went to Nebraska and played a little bit in the league. But yeah, man, we were all about a mile away down the road, just stinking up the hotel.
It's incredible. Guys don't know the tricks anymore. Guys can't go for a walk. Guys aren't even putting towels under the door. They're
Just
not running the
lazy.
shower. Just run the shower.
Bunch of iPad kids.
Yeah, just these kids these days. They're just, we had a guy get kicked off the Eagles in 2017 on our Super Bowl run. We were out on the West Coast for a long trip, and I won't name the guy, but we watched him get escorted out of the hotel. And they weren't doing that in the XFL, which is cool. Maybe I want to play in the XFL.
You said it was like junior college, and it made me think of when I played 2 years at junior college, and we had to do our own laundry, we bought our own pads, but we love football. It's for the love of the game, and I would imagine that's a lot of the XFL.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing, except we're getting paid a little bit. The coolest part about the XFL was when you win, you get compensated for it. So it doesn't matter if you lost 4 straight and you're not going to the playoffs. Like, guys still wanted to win. You're still, trying to get that bonus. So, and then obviously when you win, you come back in and there's Bud Light seltzers waiting for you. So it was a lot of fun.
Got to hydrate, man. Got to hydrate.
Right.
Okay, so you were up in New England for a couple weeks, and I heard this secondhand, but I heard you were talking about the hill runs. And just how different that was. Tell me about kind of like what makes New England go in your estimation? Because you spent a little time up there, maybe not as long as me. I was there for a year, but like you definitely get an idea that it's different when you get there.
Dude, I was only there for 3 weeks, and I'm not gonna lie. When they cut me, I was happy. I was like, God dang, this is nuts up here. But you understand why they're so good. There's not a part of that day where it's wasted. You might have a 5-minute break here and there, but other than that, you're either in meetings, walk through, practice, working out, something. So yeah, I remember the first day I tried to go in and make a good impression, get there at like 5:45, try to be the first guy in the building, and Tom's already in there watching film with his feet up. So that was a cool experience. But that first Saturday, I was on practice squad. That first Saturday, we went outside, did a bunch of agility drills. I think we were out there for an hour. Then we did, I think, 8 to 10 hills. And after the hills, I'm like, okay, we're done. He's like, nope, we got 18 striders. The shortest one being 70 yards, the longest one being 170 yards. So we did like 18 of those. And then after that, I was like, okay, finally, we're done. And he's like, no, we're going in heavy squat day. Like 8 sets of 6 reps, heavy squats. I'm like, what the hell? This feels like college again. So yeah, 3 weeks of that, I was good to go. So when they cut me, that was a nice 20-hour drive back to Atlanta.
I always thought Chris was lying about how hard it was in New England.
No, and I didn't say, like, listen.
I went up there for joint, and we ran hills with you guys.
And the hills are not that fucking hard. It's everything after that. Because we used to run hills on like Fridays and like have the whole team out there, and Shaq Mason would win every week, and Bill was at the top of the hill, like Shaq by a nose, like. He was up there like rooting for Shaq, and he had his favorites. I'm pretty sure Bill is side betting the hill run, but what you say is true. And like one of the main reasons I wasn't there the next year, I'm just going to be honest, is Moses Cabrera. I love Moses Cabrera to death. He's a good dude and everything, but you ain't going to have me 33 years old squatting for 20 reps on a Monday after a game. I'm sorry, like I can't get my body back that way. So like they ran those guys into the ground up there, and it works. Like guys are in shape and the whole thing, but. They bust your ass in the weight room, dude.
Yeah, it really felt like a red shirt year in college. It was brought back some bad memories from college.
I think a big distinction that a lot of fans need to make, and I think players understand this. You go to a place like New England, and they demand that from you every day. The other 31 teams, you have the option to go in and be that guy every day, and it's not the Patriot way, it's the Kyle way. You know what I'm saying? It could be the Taylor Heinicke way.
You can stand out.
It's not mandated. So like I think about some of your teammates, veteran leadership. Charles Leno, he was a 7th rounder. He's now one of the best technicians in the NFL, probably the smartest tackle in football. That's showing up and doing it the Patriot way on your own. You don't have to be on the New England Patriots.
Their practices aren't that hard. Camp isn't that hard.
So guys do work hard.
Taylor,
everywhere else.
they work hard everywhere. Like Doug Peterson's camp was not that much easier than Bill Belichick's camp physically. I mean, I would argue that Doug's was just as hard. But the difference is what you said, Taylor, is like there is no wasted, like not even a minute wasted. So like there's no like I'm going to go just check my phone for 10 minutes. Like you might as well just put your phone outside and there's no windows in that facility or nothing. Like you are focused the whole time. So I really respect New England. I know Taylor probably does too. It was different. So ODU guy, man, I'll never forget, and actually I did until the guys brought it up, that game, your sophomore year, was it, that you threw for what? How many yards did you throw for in that game against, what was it, New Hampshire or something?
730 yards.
You had to, though, because you were down 3 touchdowns, or this wasn't stat padding. You had to go get 733 yards.
Yeah, so that was our first conference game of my sophomore year, and New Hampshire came down and put up 24 on us in the first quarter, like quick. And I just remember the offensive coordinator, Coach Bro Scott, he was like, hey, man, we're going to throw the ball every play for the rest of the game. And I thought he was joking. I'm like, yeah, okay. And 79 passes later, we're winning 64-61 to win the game. And the first thing my head coach says to me after the game, he's like, what the hell, man? You had 24 incompletions. Yeah, but, at that time, I didn't know that was a record. It was just what we needed to do to win the game. So, that was a really special night, especially out at the bars afterwards.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what the hell does Taylor Heinicke do after he throws for 733 yards? I mean, like, you probably don't even remember that well, but I'm sure it was a good night.
Well, ODU only has 2 bars, so those 2 bars were a lot of fun. But, yeah, I don't remember too much from that night.
That's incredible. Are you counting the yards as the quarters go? Are you paying attention to your stats in that situation?
Not at all. I'm just trying to win the game.
Yeah.
The only time I saw the stat was after the third quarter. We have that TV timeout. I look up. They have the stats on the big jumbotron, and I had 550 yards after the third quarter.
Oh shit!
And I think we were still down like 10 points or something. So knew that there was more to come, and a little bit down the road, 730 with. I think I had 60 yards rushing too, so 790 total and 6 touchdowns. So it was a special day.
Was your arm sore after that game?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah.
Could you play golf the next day?
Yeah.
That was before I was golfing. So
okay. Yeah. So who's hit you the hardest in the NFL, and why is it Brandon Graham a few weeks ago at the end of that game?
That's a good question. I have to go back and think about it. But the one that pops in my mind, he didn't really hit me hard. I kind of just landed weird. Was Grady Jarrett back in 2018. He got me, and I fell and tried to brace myself and just tore my tricep.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's one that pops out. But, yeah, Brandon Graham, that one's been a talking point with all my buddies and family. And, they're like, why'd you flop? I'm like, well, you got to look at it, man. I took a knee. Reddick was, he kind of hit me. But then Brandon Graham, he had, 6 steps.
5 steps.
Yeah, the lay off, and if he's going to come hit me, that's the game right there. So yeah, I might have acted a little bit, but hey, I think that's a penalty with any quarterback out there.
Hey, listen, bro. I'm former Eagle. I'm sitting there. I'm pulling for the Eagles, but I love watching you play, and so and BG's my guy, and I don't want to criticize BG, but the truth is, it was a penalty, and I think the tricky thing, and I would argue that y'all shouldn't be able to do that, but it's in the rule book. Like if y'all go down, you should just get all the way down. Because I don't know if I would have done anything different because it's happening so fast. And, our reaction when you guys hit the ground is to go tag off to get the sack. For one, to ensure that you guys are down, but two, Hassan and BG are racing to you to get that sack. You know what I mean? I don't blame you, bro. And there was no shame in your game getting up with the fist pump. Hey, you guys won at the link. That was a hell of a game. And this run's been amazing, man. Let's go this weekend. It's 4th and 4. I don't know if you know what I'm going to ask you, but do you want the ball in that situation? Ron decides to punt. It works out because you guys get a a turnover out of it. But are you at that point with Ron or with Scott where you're like, hey, we're going here. Like, I'd like to go. And did that conversation happen at all?
It didn't. And, I think that's the right decision because, again, you think about it. I think they had 0 timeouts left. No. Did they? They had 0 timeouts left. And, we were on our own 40, I think it was. So the last thing you want to do is give them the ball with 40 yards to go, and all they need is to score a touchdown. So I felt, flipping the field position, get them inside the 20 and make them go the whole field with no timeouts is the great decision. But I feel like if we were on their side of the 50, maybe
15 yards different. Yeah, it's funny in today's day and age, and you're an actual quarterback, so please weigh in. But like everything's dissected in these fourth down decision like the analytics, like you should do this, you should do that. Obviously, analytics are an important part of the game and everything, but there's context in every decision. And I wonder how you feel about the analytics part of making decisions on 3rd and 4th down, or if you're just kind of like, hey, I just run the plays now.
No, I've really gotten into it the last couple of years, kind of just studying it and seeing, what the whole deal is. And, I agree with a lot of the decisions, but there's some where, in analytics, they don't factor in momentum. Mm-hmm. And, that's a huge part of football. If you're not really moving the ball that great, and you're up and you're still winning, let's flip the field position. If your defense is playing great, let's do that. It's not all about analytics. So, that's my take on it. But again, I just hear the play call and try and make it work. So
no question. How about Indy and Green Bay? Like to end those games, obviously Indy, like spectacular fashion, awesome throw. You're going right at the best corner on their team, but I know you're throwing it there with confidence because it's Terry, right? It doesn't matter who's on the other side. Like at the end of the Green Bay game, Jair Alexander's a hell of a player, but in crunch time on the right sideline, if I remember correctly, it was some beautiful balls that you threw to Terry and some great catches. And just talk about how confident you are when you go through your progression and shit hits the fan and you see scary Terry.
Yeah, you have a guy, we paid him a lot this offseason, and we paid him for a reason. It's because he continues to make these big-time plays in big-time situations. And, if you want to be one-on-one with Terry, then great. We feel very good about that matchup. Doesn't matter who the corner is. So, again, in that play specifically, I knew it was going to be a one-on-one with him. And, I forget his name, Clark, I think his name is.
Kenny Clark.
He squirted through, and it was before even Terry came out of his break. I just needed to throw it to an area, trust him, and sure enough, he keeps making plays in big time situations. So I'm sure you're going to see more of it this year. The guy's a great player, a great professional, a great person. So definitely happy he's on our team.
Yeah, you hit a great professional. The guy seems like he's 30 years old, like not a 23, 24-year-old kid.
Yeah, he carries himself in a very veteran way, which is it's super cool. Again, you know how receivers are. Sometimes they're big divas. Yeah, so when your best receivers, the way he is, it trickles down, and everyone kind of rallies behind that. So it's a great group of guys in that room.
Absolute dog. Okay, so like guy I play with, Carson. That was a tough deal for Carson, but. I thought that, there was no choice. You got to ride with the hot hand, and you've done a great job. And I know that I've heard you say you and Carson are still pretty cool. I don't think people understand the NFL. It's not like him or me. It's I want to win this job, but if I don't, I'm going to support my teammate. How has that relationship been? Has there been things you've been able to take from Carson? Because he does have a little bit of a different experience than you. How's that relationship been post you keeping the job?
It's been great, and I kind of took some time and sat back and thought about how he would feel in this whole situation, and I get it, man. I get how he would be upset, and I understand it. So my biggest thing was I wanted to sit down and talk with him. So once that decision was made, when Coach Rivera made that decision, me and him sat down in the locker room. We talked for about 15 minutes, and it was a great conversation. Pretty much at the end of the day, it's neither of our faults. It's part of the business, and the last thing we wanted to do was make it weird. We have a great relationship off the field, and let's keep going. I told him, you never know what's going to happen, man. Like I might get hurt, and we're going to need you again. Just stay in it, because we're at an all-time high right now. We have a lot of confidence when we're rolling. So we're we're doing a great job in the film room as well. He sees some things that I don't see, and we have great conversation. So he's just as much, helping me as I was helping him when he was starting. So it's a great relationship, and I fully expect him to continue doing that.
That's good to hear, man. Sometimes there's conversations that go on in a locker room that fans don't even know about that are really, they're monumental conversations. That's like a man-to-man talk. It's hard in professional football. And, there's everybody's egos involved, and everybody's doing the very best they can. It's so competitive. The margins are small. There's no shame in losing a job to somebody, and I love that you guys had a talk, man. In my experience with Carson, I always really enjoyed him. He's quiet. He's to himself a little bit, but, he was balls out on the field. He's tough, the whole thing. So I'm glad you guys are getting along, and congrats on all the success. How about Ron Rivera, his leadership through all this, the ups and downs, having to, being accountable for what he says at the podium? Because, I thought that was really cool. He was like, man, I fucked up. I shouldn't have said that way. What have you learned from Ron through this whole process?
It goes back to 2018 when I was with him in Carolina. And when I was down there, that was my favorite locker room I've ever been in. And I think it starts with him. I mean, the guy lets you be yourself. He wants you to be your authentic self. And all he asks is when you're at the facility, you come to work and you work hard. And, the guys really gravitate towards that. We have a lot of fun with it, but we work hard. So it's cool. And again, I wasn't here in 2020 when he was going through all the cancer stuff. But I was hearing stories where he would go get chemo and then come straight to practice and be on the field, even when he wasn't feeling well. So that speaks to his character, his leadership, and the guys just rally around him, man. He just keeps it real with you, with all the stuff happening outside the facility, and every week you feel like there's a new storyline with this organization, and he does a great job of kind of shielding us from that. He's like, let me take care of it. If any reporters ask you, just defer it to me. I just want you guys to focus on ball. So he makes it really easy on us. And again, all the guys love him. So, we're happy that he just got his 100th win as a head coach this past Sunday, and hopefully we just keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, that's a great point. You guys have done a good job of staying focused because there is a lot swirling around. And I know people are in your lockers asking questions and that sort of thing. But it's y'all's job to play football and play it well, and you guys are right now. How about the guy I mentioned earlier in the show, Ryan Fitzpatrick? What'd you take from Rye, and what was it like? Kind of, because I asked him last week about you. I said, is Heinicke the next you? And that's a big compliment in my opinion, because this guy's one of the most well-liked people in football history, universally respected, gamer, clutch, tough, the whole thing. Maybe got passed over by some people. Do you think that's an accurate comparison, and what did you learn from Fitzy?
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing I learned from Fitz is you got to have fun with this. Football's a tough game, and when it's not going well, it's rough. And he's one of those guys that he chalked it up with everybody. He was joking around with everybody. Everyone loved him, and I kind of sat back and looked how everyone gravitated towards him, and put that in my pocket. But again, the guy, he doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not super mobile, but he gets things done and in his own way. And I've kind of took that as well. I see a lot of myself in him in that aspect. So, if I play for 17 years and kind of go from place to place, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I think his career was amazing. Obviously, he got passed up at some points, like you said. But if I can look back, 10 years from now and have that career, I would be ecstatic.
Yeah, but you got a chance to lead your team to the playoffs this year. So let's shoot for the stars, man. The commies, they're going buck wild right now, man. Kyle, you had a really good question. Speaking of fun, let's have some fun.
Yeah, well, I wanted to first off mention I like Jeff Saturday's hire as the player coach in Indianapolis. I love that Ron Rivera has a player background as a coach. You talked about all the stuff that he was a leader through in 2020 that you didn't get to see but you heard about. Number one, how important is that? And then number two, who on your team do you think would be a part of Senate? Who would be the person that you would vote for to lead the country?
Yeah, because you play in the capital city, man. If shit hit the fan and you had to pick one teammate to all right, this is the guy with the nuclear codes. Who's it going to be? And then one guy that you're like, nah, he can't go anywhere near the Oval Office.
Property.
Okay, I'll start with Rivera. When you have an ex-player that's a coach, I think that has a lot of merit to it. Obviously he's been there before. He's a Super Bowl winner. He knows what it takes to be successful, and he knows what it takes to have a good locker room. And here we are, in the playoff hunt. We made the playoffs. I think his first year here, second year here. So him to turn around this organization like that and how we're going right now, and it's because of him. So that's on Rivera. The guys in the locker room. The one guy I wouldn't want at the helm is definitely Chase Young.
Why is that?
He just likes to have too much fun, man. Yeah. He's joking around too much, but
which could be good. Yeah. We could shake things up a little bit.
No, you need him at like some of the press conferences.
Okay, who's going to run the country from the Washington Commanders locker room?
I think I know.
I mean, Leno's up there.
He's in the running for sure.
He's definitely a candidate.
Humble
Chase
beginnings.
Roulier, our center that's been hurt. He's an all-time guy.
Any lineman, just throw him in there.
Yeah, pretty much all the offensive linemen could probably go in there and do it. And then I think a dark horse would be John Bostic. Older linebacker. Yeah, he's a veteran. He knows what it takes. He's very well rounded.
John Bostic always smells good, like he just put on cologne. Does he still? I played with him in 2013 when he got drafted.
You can't forget
Florida.
that smell.
And every time he walked by, like I'd block him in practice, and I'd be like, "Motherfucker, you smell great."
Because he probably had cool waters on at practice. Some guys wear cologne all day long.
John Bostic.
Scary Terry's not making it.
But Scary's up. He's up there. Yeah. But John Bostic's going to be really weirded out when I go up behind him tomorrow and smell him. So I'll
Dude, you can tell him. You can tell him I sent you, bro. I go way back on John Bostic.
Okay, another one. I think I saw you packing a lip. Maybe it was on Bussin' or Pardon My Take. You got a Zin in it. What is it right now, huh?
The chill Zins.
Okay, because I've just got on. I'm a Kodiak lifetime Kodiak guy. One a day, Kodiak.
Copenhagen Wintergreen.
He's got the Copenhagen Wintergreen. I'm a menthol. I'm trying the citrus flavors in. It's a bunch of bullshit. I need to get back to my menthol. But are you a dipper or is it just the Zin? People must know because we sent a box up to Chase Claypool. I guess Gunnar Olszewski had gotten him hooked. And gave him like some Skol or something, and we were like, let's send the heavyweight shit up. So we sent a box of Kodiak up. I'm pretty sure Claypool's buzzing off nicotine in Chicago right now. What kind of dip is Taylor Heinicke a fan of, if he is?
I'm a big wintergreen guy. Whether it's I'll go to Copenhagen Grizzly. I'll
anything wintergreen.
Yeah, and then my little change up is you're just classic Copenhagen, the fine cut. Sometimes it's too fine cut. Where it gets really messy, but I like the taste of it. So those three are my top three.
All right, Taylor, I know you're into golf. We talked about this a little bit. I have the bug as well. I'm a former baseball guy. I love playing golf. Chris lives on a beautiful golf course.
I just doesn't play golf. Not a golf guy.
Doesn't fucking play golf.
No, I just like looking at it.
Okay, hypothetical golf round. You get next week off. Where are we going to play golf? We get a PJ anywhere. Anywhere we'll be able to get in private or public.
He wants to go to Dubai, I bet.
Where are you going, buddy?
No, we're going to the Masters, man.
We're going to the Masters. It's such a Georgia answer.
Yeah. Well, have you ever been?
I've been there. I went in 2020 COVID year, it was weird because only 30% capacity could go in.
Yeah.
So you didn't really get the energy, but it was cool because obviously there wasn't that much of a crowd and you could see the guys more closely. So. That was a cool experience.
Was the bird noise piped in? Were the birds fake?
I don't think so, man. There's
real birds down there.
Have you guys ever been there?
No, I'm going to go. And I'm going to go not because of the beautiful course, not because of the golf, but because of my phone. Like, I just want the excuse. Like, I'm at the fucking Masters. I missed it. Yeah. Sorry, babe.
That's great.
Sorry.
Wish the Masters
whoever
was
wants to meet me for lunch next week. Or I just don't want to know. Like, I want to throw my phone away. And the food looks fire, too.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, when you walk in, like, it's not in that great of a town. But when you walk in, you're like, it's like heaven, man. There's not a wood chip out of place. It looks like something you would see on a movie. It's unbelievable. And then, they just make everything very convenient. So you want to go get a beer and a sandwich. It takes maybe 35 seconds to get those.
It's amazing.
That sounds ideal.
And it's cheap. You're not waiting in line. You get it and you go. So again, I was there when there was only 30% capacity. So who knows what it's like. when everyone's in there.
That's
but
a great answer.
Well,
Augusta.
A couple more things before we let you go. Like, real quick, the big hats, man. I've seen a bunch of people get these big hats, like, within 24 hours. Cowboy Reed, did you order a big hat for us? I got the number one dad hat coming tomorrow. Is this I got the lamest one out of the whole. Paid $75 for that. All right, can you talk to Brian Robinson about maybe his friend, like, making these more affordable? I know it's a lot of hat, but what did you know about the big hats before this weekend?
I didn't. The first time I saw it was when after the game he had it on. It's been a big hit. I was talking to him this morning. He said that he's getting millions of DMs asking, if they're going to have enough for Christmas. So that was a good move by him. Hopefully that he's getting a little bit of money out of it.
What do you do with the big hat after you wear it the first time and take a picture? Like, what the fuck do you do, dude?
I don't know. You got to like sign it and sell it or something.
Oh my God,
He's like the Gary Vee of marketing.
Yeah,
right now, Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson needs a cut from because honestly, like, all of a sudden that place. I don't know if they're going to have the back end on the website to fill out all the orders that they're getting as a result of Brian Robinson. How about Brian Robinson, man? Like, take me through that thing. I mean, like, obviously scary as hell. From the minute you guys hear about it to watching him rehab. Talk to me about just kind of that process, because it's unthinkable. It's like unfucking thinkable. There's no blueprint for that. I had a teammate get shot, Stedman Bailey. He survived. He got shot in the head and survived. It was a miracle, but like, he couldn't play football anymore. Just to think about getting shot and coming back in the same season is insane.
Yeah, I forget when it happened. It might have been right after the last preseason game. I remember I was out golfing, and I just checked my Instagram real quick, and I see a post about him getting shot, and I thought it was fake. I thought it was just a fake post. And I kept on scrolling. I see it 2-3 more times. So then I text some guys on the team. I'm like, yeah, man. So, thank God he was okay. But the fact that, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, he's walking. He's not on crutches anymore. The dude's walking and already rehabbing. And thank God it didn't, mess up his knee at all, and didn't hit any ligaments or anything. Kind of just went right through. It's a blessing. So for him to, go through that, go through the rehab, and now run the ball like he's running it right now, it's a miracle. But we're glad that he's okay. He's a bruiser, and you can see it. When we get deep in those games, that dude's just killing those guys. It's fun handing the ball off and having him go against safeties, and it's really fun to watch.
He's a big dude, man. He's a load. You can tell him. Seems like a great guy, man. I'm super happy he's recovered. Okay, best Jordans so far that you've acquired from beating a team, and then, like, be honest, the worst ones that you're like, this colorway should never happen, dude. And I know if you guys beat the Browns, I just want to see. I want to see what the fuck those look like. But tell me so far, best and worst.
The fours for the Houston Texans, Travis Scott's, and then the off-white Jordan 5s, white pair, for the Atlanta Falcons. And I'll say the worst one by far is the Green Bay pair. It's hard to find a pretty swaggy green and yellow Jordan.
Yeah,
I got to talk to Oregon for you.
That's what I got, the Oregon 5s.
Oh, that's interesting.
Well, if you got any prettier ones you find, you let me know. I'll try to hook that up.
That's interesting. I can't wait for, fingers crossed, the brown on browns. The brown and oranges or whatever.
The Carhartt 6s.
The Carhartt 6s. Yeah, that's good. You should do a collab. All right, and then last thing, the chain. Whose chain was it? How does that go? Was the chain heavy? Do you know the value of that chain? I'll tell you a story. One time, you ever been to rehab, the pool party at in Vegas? It's like at the Hard Rock. It's like, these Memorial Day parties. Me and my D-line mates used to go, and we ran into a former teammate of mine. He let me borrow a chain for a day. And in the state I was in, actually, Kyle, you were there that day.
Yes, I was.
The chain went missing.
Yeah. Oh, no.
And when I found out how much the chain cost, I was petrified. But my buddy was like, no, you're good. Fuck that chain. And I was like, I might want to check on his finances.
I remember that chain.
After football. How much is that chain worth, and how heavy was it? And give me the background on what went into that.
So, obviously we just got the big win against Philly. I get back on the plane. I got my Busch Lights waiting for me, and I'm actually having a good time just drinking my Busch Lights, minding my own business. And next thing you know, Chase Young is throwing his chain on me. Then Deron Payne's throwing his chains on me. I think it was like 6 or 7 different guys were just throwing their stuff on me. And, again, after that, I was like, cool, I will say they are heavy as hell. My neck was sore after that. And then, obviously took some pictures and got in trouble for it. But But yeah, those chains are sweet, man. I want one myself, but I can't fork up 20 plus grand. That's just, I can't do that.
Okay, so if you could fork up 20 grand, what's your chain look like?
It's got to be iced out, thick. I probably have my own logo on it. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Okay.
I like that.
You don't have a logo currently. We'd be doing that for the chain.
I do have a logo right now.
Oh, it's a logo guy. All right, I
Man.
gotta check out his logo. This became a thing the last couple of years. Dude's got logos. I'm
Get
a
your
stickler.
bread. Get your
you
bread,
gotta get his
Taylor.
fucking money, man. I love this guy, man.
Get your fucking bread.
We just gotta give him the Allman Brothers playlist, man. That's all.
Right.
That's the only thing, man. So Taylor, appreciate the time. I hope you have a great rest of the year, except for against the Eagles. But otherwise, man, we love watching you play, dude. Stay healthy and get after it, dude.
Thanks, Taylor.
Chris, Kyle, appreciate you guys having me, man.
Yeah, tell Nate I said what's up.
I will. I'll see you
All right.
tomorrow.
Okay. See you, buddy.
All right, guys.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.